Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunatu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Together we chant verses 1 to 10, chapter 8, Bhagavad Gita.
ॐ अथाष्टमोऽध्यायः अर्जुन उवाच किं तद्ब्रह्म किमध्यात्मम् किं कर्म पुरुषोत्तम अधिभूतं च किं प्रोक्तम् अधिदैवं किमुच्यते अधियज्ञः कथं कोत्र देहेऽस्मिन् मधुसूदन प्रयाणकाले च कथं ज्ञेयोऽसि नियतात्मभिः श्रीभगवानुवाच अक्षरं ब्रह्म परमम् स्वभावोऽध्यात्ममुच्यते भूतभावोद्भवकरः विसर्गः कर्म संज्ञितः अधिभूतं क्षरो भावः पुरुषश्चाधिदैवतम् अधियज्ञोऽहमेवात्र देहे देहभृताम्बर अन्तकाले च मामेव स्मरन् मुक्त्वा कलेवरम् यः प्रयाति समद्भावम् याति नास्त्यत्र संशयः यं यं वापि स्मरन् भावम् त्यजत्यन्ते कलेवरम् तं तमेवैति कौन्तेय सदा तद्भावभावितः तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु मामनुस्मर युध्य च मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिः मामे वैश्यस्य संशयः अभ्यासयोगयुक्तेन चेतसा नान्यगामिना परमं पुरुषं दिव्यम् याति पार्थानुचिन्तयन् कविं पुराणमनुशासितारम् अणोरणीयां समनुस्मरेद्यः सर्वस्य धातारमचिन्त्य रूपम् आदित्यवर्णं तमसः परस्तात् प्रयाणकाले मनसाचलेन भक्त्या युक्तो योगबलेन चैव भ्रुवोर्मध्ये प्राणमावेश्य सम्यक् सतं परं पुरुषमुपैति दिव्यम्।
Okay, so we have a question here from Rajesh Jain. In class yesterday, is surrender means to not act in excess where we do not have complete knowledge. Currently, we have no clue of how to live. Should we surrender to whom and how? Rajesh, so first most important thing is go back to definitions of what surrender is. Surrender does not mean don't act. Surrender means don't apply your intellect in areas of ignorance. You have no option with reference to action. So when it comes to action, what you don't know is the fruit really what will give you happiness? This you don't know. So don't pitch your hopes on something that you don't know about. Action you will do because you understand you have to act. You understand that you have to act with discipline, meaning through your intellect, so that your character develops. All this you understand. So action is necessary. We have no clue how to live life. That's not really true. It's not that you have no clue how to live life. It is that whatever knowledge we have about living life disappears because of all the mental stuff that's going on. So this is not correct that you have no clue to live life. You do know, you know what is right, you know what is wrong, but we're not able to execute it because our mind is so powerful at the moment. So let's read this question again. Surrender means to not act in excess where we do not have complete knowledge. Firstly, there's no question of acting in excess. You don't, it's not that you don't act, it's that you don't apply your intellect. It's like, in your house, you think this wall is useless. So you don't apply your intellect there. Go and ask somebody, an architect, can I remove this wall? If the architect says, okay, let me see the plans, yes, I think you can, then you're fine to do it. So surrender means don't apply your intellect in areas of ignorance. That's the definition. Okay, it does not don't act, because really, as you rightly say, I mean, in most areas of life, what do we know and what is our knowledge? That means we will be forced into a position where we can't act at all, can't do anything. I don't know, for instance, whether this class that is going on now is of benefit to you or not. There is no way I can tell that. I do hope and pray it is, but I don't know whether this is happening or not. So that doesn't mean the class should stop because I don't know. This I know, that this is the form of service I know this is the form of service I'm doing. Now, whether anybody benefits, doesn't benefit, it depends on what they do, not depends on what I do. I can only do what I can do, right? So it's not that you don't act, it's that you don't let your intellect start unnecessarily analyzing, thinking on all this sort of thing on something you don't know. What are you thinking about that? Deal with what you know and what you can go beyond. You study a little beyond. And that's very important on the spiritual path too, because we will all start doing things like detachment and all sorts of things we'll take up to do. But what is detachment? First, find that out. No, I must stay away from my family. I want to be detached. Is that in the definition of detachment? So, we should do what we know. We should go along thinking along what we know and gradually increase our knowledge rather than just, jump to things we don't know and then create all this confusion around. Is that okay? So whom should we surrender to? Is the knowledgeable person in that field. Surrender is really to your own ignorance. Surrender means I recognize my ignorance. So your surrender is really to your own ignorance. Say, acha baba, mujhe pata nahi. Okay? Then you can have faith in somebody, and that faith should be a reasoned faith. Why do you have faith in that person? To help you with this. Like, for instance, with the example of the wall in the house, you have faith in the architect because you know the person is an architect and you know that that person has been through architecture school, and you are making this assumption that they have actually studied what they went there for, or a friend has recommended this very good architect. So there's some reason, there's some basis for that faith. It's not that किसी को भी पूछो निकालू क्या, contractor को बुलाओ और पूछो निकालू क्या. No, you can't ask him. You ask the relevant person. So who do you surrender to? Actually surrenders to your own ignorance, but then you have faith in the person based on some reasoning that you have put in. Why have you chosen this person? So why did you choose the doctor? Because he's MBBS, because in the past he has cured you, because blah, because. So now you have faith he will do it also. You still don't know that he'll cure you this time, but you have faith based on some basis. Okay, so how do you surrender? You look out for a person who is knowledgeable in the area that you are ignorant in. Is that okay? Rajni Vashisht. Rajni, yeah, here you are, Rajni. Indian market is full of fake knowledge, pretentious to be God-man. How to assess? You have a point there. Of course, I will not agree with your first sentence that Indian market is full of fake knowledge, pretentious to be God-man. There are some people like that, but I hope that is not the vast majority. So, how to assess the fact is you can never assess. How are you going to ever assess a domain expert when you're not even in that domain? You can't, nobody can choose their guru. It's not possible. If you're capable of telling that this person is great, you don't need to study from that person. Because in English, there's a saying, only a Milton knows a Milton. To be able to appreciate what Milton is, you have to be somewhere close there. To know the greatness of Einstein, you have to be somewhere great. We all say Einstein is so great, but why are we saying that? Not because we have assessed him, but because other scientists tell us so. We don't know, is he great or not great? What did he do so great? We don't know, but we are all saying, oh, Einstein is great. Why? Because domain experts say he is better than us. So that's how you know that somebody is very good. Okay, so you cannot find out if a God-man is fake or not. We can't do this. So does that mean then now we are helpless? Ab pata nahi kisko follow kare? Yes. Not really. Because firstly, we already did the part on how you have faith in somebody. Why did you have faith in that person? You have done your own research, your own reasoning, and decided this is a person worth following. But even with all that, the Gita gives us very clear indications on how you should find your guru. And the way he's given, it's a very beautiful thing, because how are you going to find a domain expert where you don't understand the domain? It's not possible, right? So the Gita has given us some very practical tips on this. 3 things. You can look up the verse itself. It's in chapter 4. What is the verse number? What is the verse number? Anybody knows what is the verse number? I'll tell you what the verse is. Tat Viddhi.
34.
Tat Viddhi. Huh?
34, ma'am.
34. Thank you, Manoj. Tat Viddhi. Tat Viddhi means know this. Tat Viddhi. Pranipatena. Pranipatena means devotion, surrender, faith. Tat Viddhi. Pranipatena. Pariprashnena. Pariprashnena, by questioning. Sevaya, by service. By these 3 qualities, those who are wise and knowledgeable will come and instruct you. In other words, you don't go hunting for the guru will find you. But why has the guru found you? Because you have cultivated 3 qualities. You're capable of surrender, means you understand that you're ignorant. 2, you're capable of questioning. Surrender doesn't mean a blind follow karo kisi ko bhi. You understand you're ignorant, but you're capable of questioning. And you're a service-oriented person. If you don't have these 3 qualities, you're most likely to follow the wrong guru. Okay, so when you go to the guru saying, oh, will you make me rich? Will you give me a good bride? Will you give me this? Will you give me that? And he says, haan, main to zarur dunga. You're on the wrong track. You're completely on the wrong track. Because the reason you went was a self-centered reason. So anybody who is a little smart is capable of using your selfishness for his or her personal gains. So how do you get a good guru? Cultivate these three things: surrender, questioning, and service. Are you service oriented? Are you questioning? And are you capable of surrender? If you have these three qualities, don't worry, he says, your guru will come and stand at your door. Don't worry about it. Okay, Rajni? Tinky, does prayer mean we are not surrendering? Interesting, Tinky. Again, let's use definitions, okay? You all are sick of the word definitions by now, but let's use the definition. What is the definition of prayer? Today, prayer has come to mean some kind of licensed beggary. I go to Siddhivinayak and say, make my career do well, make my child do well in exams, give me a good spouse, give me a child, give me Siddhivinayak, Mount Mary, Dargahs. What is going on over here? Is this some licensed beggary? This is not a human life to go and ask and to beg and to say, give me this, give me this, give me this. Are you mad or something? This is not prayer. So let's understand what is prayer. Prayer is full-time awareness of truth. Prayer is full-time awareness of truth. Prayer is recognizing the vast beneficence of nature, how much we are constantly receiving. I'm explaining the definition, okay? What is this truth you're aware of? How much you're in receipt of? How much you have got? Therefore, prayer translates into a constant sense of gratitude. Prayer translates into a constant sense of surrender, because who is this hand, this unseen hand that has provided so much to me? I open my eyes and it's amazing. I see this all. I see you all here. Amazing, isn't it? I open my mouth to speak and these words come out. Isn't it a miracle that these words come out? I don't know how these words come out. It's a miracle. Prayer is constant gratitude. Prayer is constant surrender. Prayer is constant service. This converts itself to the sense of what can I do? How can I help? How can I serve? In what way can I benefit you? When I meet somebody and my only question is, in what way can you benefit me? This means I don't live in a state of prayer. So does prayer mean we are not surrendering? No, prayer means we are surrendering. But prayer has come to mean making demands. This is the wrong way of living life. You make no demands, not on people around you, not on God, not on your government, not on anybody. You make no demands on people. Only fools make demands on people. And mad doesn't make. And what is this thing? I'm making a demand on somebody. 9 out of 10 times I'm making a demand on a person who's not capable of giving me what I want and say, give me love. I'll go to a hot-tempered person and say, give me patience. This is madness. The insanity it is. I'll go to an ignorant person and say, give me knowledge. Pagalpan hai ye. I hope you get that Vedanta is actually nothing but common sense. There's just common sense. If you have to make a demand on somebody, give me love, that means that person is not capable of giving you love. You would have given it to you already. If a loving person will be loving, they'll give you love freely. What is the demand for? If you have to make a demand, there's something already wrong. Why are you not stopping and seeing what that thing is? So making demands is just stupidity. It's just stupidity. It's all common sense, you know. How can I make a demand on somebody, give me knowledge? He must be knowledgeable in that field, right? How can I make a demand to somebody do service to me, he must be capable of doing service. How can I make a demand on somebody run the mile in 4 minutes? He must be capable of doing it, right? What am I making a demand for? People are the way they are. What am I making a demand for? And foolishly, I'm making the wrong demand on the wrong person also. Like, I'll go to ignorant people, say, give me knowledge. I'll go to hard-hearted people, give me love. I'll go to insane people and say, give me sanity. This is my insanity. What to say? So, making any demand on anything is just madness. It's not prayer. When you go to the temple, ask, how may I serve? When you go to the mosque, ask, how may I serve? When you go to the church, ask, how may I serve? The Sikh religion, the Guru must have gone so fed up. He said, don't come here only unless you come here for Kar Seva. Just don't come. Simple. A very smart, very, very smart move. Because it's silly, no? Oh, if you're a Sikh and you go into the Gurdwara, you go there to serve. Be clear about this. That's why you see the Sikhs are extremely service oriented, where all the time they're going here and there doing all sorts of good deeds. But that's not the end of the story, unfortunately. That's the beginning of the story. For many people, they feel that's the end of the story. And that's where every teacher has failed from time immemorial. Every single teacher has failed. Because nobody can teach us. We have to teach ourselves. The teacher is like a signpost. You either follow it or you don't. What can the signpost do? So, does prayer mean we are not surrendering? No, prayer means we are surrendering. If we understand what prayer means. Prayer means a constant awareness of the truth. 24/7, 365 days a year. You have never forgotten that. You have never, never, ever forgotten that. That is prayer. When you're able to maintain the awareness, that is prayer. When you lose the awareness, you're not in prayer. It's all quite simple, isn't it? The nice thing about Vedanta, it's all very simple. There's no complications over here. Very, very simple. To be aware of the truth 24/7 is prayer. So the rest was all the explanation. When you say awareness of truth, what does it mean? It means awareness of Atman. That is difficult for us to maintain. So what do we maintain? We maintain awareness of our ignorance. We maintain awareness of what we are receiving. We maintain awareness of, therefore, how much I need to do. I maintain awareness of all this. What is my, people say, I'm going to retire. I'm going to retire what? What do you mean I'm going to retire? How dare you retire? That doesn't mean you stick onto your chair. That's not what it means. It means as long as you're alive, how are you a contributing member? How are you a contributing member? As long as you're coming to class, how are you a contributing member? You ask yourself that question. Are you okay, Tinky? Or you got way more than you were?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Janki ji, Hariom.
Hariom, Arun.
Janki ji, there are lots of cases wherein you are unable to serve others, but you can pray for others. Is that okay?
Okay or not, Arun, is always a very relative thing. When you say I can pray for others, if you look at it from a much higher stance, any kind of demand is wrong. Selfish demand, unselfish demand, even selfless demand. Every demand is a demand. So from the highest standpoint, no demands. However, for selfish people who are used to demands, it is better to have an unselfish demand than a selfish demand. So all these things are very relative. We are all at different stages of the journey. And because we're at different stages of the journey, we will all do very many different things. The important thing is we take the next step up. So if this is the next step up for somebody that, I can't help praying and demanding, okay, then demand for others. But one day you have to learn that you have to get away from these demands. That is why, this, we always say it's a technical subject because there's gradation. In the whole knowledge, there's a gradation and we can't forget that. And you have to go by the gradation, that is, each one of us have to take the next step forward.
Yeah, that's clear. Thanks.
Okay, everybody, shall we get on with our text? Okay, so what is the main idea we have been studying in the last few verses? Now you better answer that correctly. Don't make any mistakes. What is the main idea?
As you think, so you become.
Bharat, you're not allowed to answer. You have been debarred from answering, okay? Yes, as usual, Bharat is right. As you think, so you become. This is the critical point that we have been studying the last few classes. That as you think, so will your life be. Whatever your life is the result of the thoughts that you had in the past. If you want a different life, you will have to have different thoughts. The definition of insanity is to have the same thoughts and expect a different life. Doesn't happen. Okay, so this is what we have studied so far. So now what he told us, therefore, tasmat, verse 7 said, tasmat, sarveshu kaleshu, mam anusmara, at all times think of me. Okay? Meaning, what is he asking us to do? At all times think of me. In one word is?
Self. Think of the
One
self.
word is, at all times think of me. In one word is?
Goal.
One word, please tell me. Whoever has been listening so far will be able to answer this question.
Surrender. Surrender. Self.
Full-time awareness of
Self.
One word, Tinky, one word.
Pray.
Prayer, yes, correct. Is it pray? Sarveshu kaleshu, at all times, mam anusmara, remember me. Prayer, this is prayer. Thank God we are around the verse itself. This is prayer. Sarveshu kaleshu, 24/7, 365 days. Remember the truth. Tasasmat. What is your life going to be? What you think. Therefore, what should you think? Think of me. We just did that, right? Think of the truth. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara. Remember me. Yuddhacha. Yuddhacha, fight and do your work, please. Don't go on, oh, I'm thinking of God, I'm thinking of God. No, I'm thinking of God. Get down to doing your work. Everybody uses God sometimes. Oh, I am in meditation. I can't do anything. What do you mean you can't do anything? If you're really doing meditation, you should be doing 20 times more than other people. So don't give me all this nonsense about I'm in meditation, so I can't do. I'm busy meditating. Do uthak baithak first. Forget about the meditation. The Mam Anusmara Yuddhacha. Please, this is not what I'm telling you. Don't think that I'm giving you some personal advice over here. This is, you're reading from the text, you're hearing the Lord's words. Mrityunjaya says actually what it means when we say truth. Mrityunjaya, did you enter late? I gave such a long lecture on what it means and now you're asking me what does it mean? Who will tell Mrityunjaya what it means? He didn't hear and nobody else heard. क्यों मैं बोलती हूँ? क्यों? Please explain. What does it mean when we say truth?
Self.
Okay, I'm assuming, yeah, correct. Yes, we are the self, correct. When we say truth, I'm assuming, Mrityunjaya, you mean, what does it mean when you say remember that the truth, right? That's what you're asking. Truth you cannot know. So are you asking what is the truth, or are you asking what does it mean that remember the truth all the time? Mrityunjaya?
So, when we tell that, suppose Gandhiji was pursuer of truth, like that. So, what we mean that what truth?
Truth is absolute truth, means the self, means the Atman. Now, whether Gandhiji was a pursuer of truth or not is not something we can comment on. He knows for himself. Was he seeking the Atman, the ultimate truth, or not? Because in the relative world, there are many truths. So, truth, ultimate truth, is the Atman, the self, your original nature, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it. This cannot be known by our intellect. But what we can do is go out in pursuit of it. When I say go out, doesn't mean you have to go anywhere at all. It's just that internal pursuit to know what is the ultimate truth, to understand what life is all about, step by step, until you understand more and more, until you understand everything, which is called enlightenment. All of us are at different steps on this ladder, and so all of us have different levels of comprehension of what is going on. So what is truth? Like everybody, Sanjay Kamath. Sanjay Kamath, is that Varsha Kamath, I suppose?
Yeah, that's
No.
I'm on the
Are
laptop.
you faking Varsha? Sanjay Kamath, I was quite surprised. Okay, so yes, correct, Varsha. We are the self. Who Ganesh also, yes, we are the self. That is the truth. Now, what does it mean? I am the self. I am the truth. That you don't know. That you will never know. And in the relative level, there are various truths. At the ultimate level, there's only one truth. Don't even go there because you're never going to understand what it is. Okay, so coming back. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhyacha. So what are the two qualities we require?
The Chintan and action.
Okay, now that you used a different word, you'll have to tell us what your word means.
Ma'am, can I say?
Yeah, 1 second. Let us get what Sangeeta is saying. She used a new word, chintan. So now she has to define her word. Everyone is going to get very quiet in class, I think, from now on.
Remember that Samiran or Chintan. I mean,
Or something. Your definitions cannot have add something. Sangeeta, you have to now learn precision. So, two qualities.
I mean, continuous remembrance.
Okay.
Continuous remembrance of the self.
Can't hear you.
And action, and do whatever our obligatory duties are.
Yes, correct. Second part I heard, I assume the first part is correct. Somebody else wanted to say?
Prayer and
Yeah.
Surrender and act.
Surrender and serve. Okay.
Think of the self and fight.
Think of the self and fight. Pray and fight. Do what you have to do and do it consistently. Jatin, yes, you have to do what you have to do, but you must not forget the self. It's like in classical music, you know, that tanpura behind, the shruti behind, it's going sarpa, sarpa, sa, sarpa, sa, sarpa. The classical musician is attuned to that. So he's singing all his ragas, he's singing all the talas, all the nakra is going on. He's taking his bandesh, whatever in the world he is doing. He's not lost his attunement to that shruti or to that tanpura. So our life has to be like that. We are doing whatever we are doing. So many things. By the time it's 10:30 and you have come to class, how many things have happened? How many hours of the day have already gone? So many things have happened. Last Sunday class seems like some different Janma only. So many things have happened. All these things go on. But you've never lost the remembrance. So it is the remembrance of the self, the remembrance of the goal, the remembrance of truth, whichever one inspires you, you hang on to that one. Because that's what's going to take you. Bhav Sagar Par, take you across all this involvement. Excuse me. So yes, so these 2 points, tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. Tasmat, at all times, remember me and act. Remember the truth and act. Mayarpita mano buddhihi, having arpit, having given your man and buddhi, you will no doubt come to me. Means, I hope you're following the line of thought. I'm going to repeat the line of thought. As you think, so you become. Think of the self and act. Don't think of the self and go to sleep. Think of the self and act. And when you have thus surrendered your mind and intellect, when you have thus absorbed your mind and intellect into the self, you will reach me. No samshaya. There is no doubt about this. What is the doubt in that? It is a normal cause and effect relationship. So you don't have to get anxious. When will I find the self? When will I reach the self? When will I know this? When will I? Keep doing it. You'll reach that. There is no samshaya about this. Just keep on doing what you need to do. What is it you need to do? Think of the self and act. Keep doing whatever you have to do. Work, work, work till you drop down dead. Work. Sometimes it'll feel like that also. But that's it. Work, work, and work. Because if you don't work, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So work, work, work. And keep your mind there. This is a dual thing that we have to maintain at all times. Why? Because we are new on the spiritual path. We are young on the spiritual path. We can't not afford to work. Remember, he told us in chapter 18, work is the purifier of the wise. You purify yourself of desires through work. That is why you find many high achievers have many qualities that we talk about here. Things that we are talking about here that we have to sort of learn. High achievers have already learned that. They already function like that. You'll see people, you look at them, you say, these people don't come to Vedanta class, then how is it that they are so objective or they are so whatever qualities you see in them? Because they're working. They're used to achieving. And if you are used to achieving, you are used to many virtues. You're just used to it. Even the criminals who are high achievers will have those virtues. Sometimes in the movies and all, they show that these criminals, and you say, oh, worth respecting and all, very good. Like Ravana or Duryodhana. Anybody who is used to achieving will get the virtues. So, work, 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 work. Not stupidly, not like a donkey. Properly work. No retiring and all. No saying, I don't like work. What do you mean you don't like work? You better get down to work. So he says, if you do that, na atra samshaya. There is no samshaya. There is no doubt about this whatsoever. You will reach there. Okay, now we've understood so much. Up to this point, it's clear to everybody, and we'll move forward. So therefore, what now? So he told us, therefore, think of me and act. Okay, why think of me and act? Because as you think, so you become. So think and me and act, and then you will definitely reach me. Very simple, right? So simple Vedanta. If we just put aside all the nonsense that goes on in our head, Vedanta is very simple. It's like 2 + 2 is 4. अब उसमें क्या discussion की बात है? It's simple. Okay, is that much clear? Since I'm not hearing anybody say anything, let's go to verse. Oh, sorry, Manoj. Yes. Oh, you're saying all right. Okay, this is the same sign, by the way, for I have a question. So therefore, it is, I think we should not do thumbs up anymore. This is our sign always for there is a question. You'll use that, right, in group discussion? You don't use it in group discussion? Okay, so this is the sign that you get your monitor's attention by raising your left thumb. Okay, right thumb is actually thumbs up. Left thumb is I have a question. Okay, so let's go ahead. Verse 8. Abhyasa yoga yuktena Chetasananyagamina Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati Parthanuchintayan Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena Chetasananagamina Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati Parthanuchintayan. Abhyasa yoga yuktena. Yuktena, by the process, as you know, is the instrumental form. By Abhyasa yoga, united by Abhyasa yoga, steadfast in the path of practicing yoga. Abhyasa is practice. Chetasa na anyagamina. Na anyagamina. Gama is to go. Gama gacha, you know, is to go. So na anyagamina. Anya, other. It will not go anywhere else. Paramam Purusham Divyam. Then where will it go? Paramam Purusham Divyam. Yati. It goes to that supreme being. Anuchintayan. Anuchintayan, thinking of, meditating. So, how is your mind going to go to that Paramam Purusham Divyam? How will it go there? Abhyasayena. With abhyas of what? Yoga. It will get steadfast in that thought through yoga. When he says it will get fixed in that thought through yoga, what is he talking about? What does he mean by yoga here?
Practicing all 3 yogas, that is Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga.
Very good, Aditi. By Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. So, Abhyasa Yoga, you have done Abhyas of Karma, Bhakti, Jnana. What does that mean? Doing Abhyas of Jnana means did what?
Study.
Practice.
Study, not just study, say it properly.
Morning study.
Understand.
Morning study.
Understand.
Morning study.
Morning study. Reflecting.
Yes.
Whatever.
Now, what will you study in the morning will be what you have learnt in the class. So, attending classes, reflecting, all of this comes under Jnana Yoga. Then Bhakti Yoga. What is the abhyas for Bhakti Yoga? Bhajans.
Bhajan, satsang.
Bhajans. Yeah. Satsang meaning?
Satsang meaning creating the environment to be like in the right environment, that you are just listening to something which will take you to the higher.
No. Then that way you can't always maintain that. Bhajans you will listen to for half an hour in the day or 1 hour depending on your constitution, and when you're listening to bhajans you're doing nothing else really. You're actually using that time to attune the mind to God. People use bhajans like background music. This is not really the right way of doing it. You're in the presence of God.
Try to connect with God by serving Him, remembering Him, chanting
And
His
Geeta, your voice
name.
is never clear. I think you should just write down whatever you want to say. So bhakti means that your emotions are engaged. So, people use it as background music. This is not correct. You're in the presence of God, right? So give it the importance it is due. Listen 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, whatever your interest in the matter is, but full attention. Full, not because you're doing something else. So, Bhakti Yoga is really that you have spent some time consciously in your day, spend some time with God alone. That's why in Indian society you have the concept of your daily puja or twice a day puja. And you're not supposed to be doing, Are, dekho, pressure cooker on hai, wo gas band kar do. All that is not part of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti means you switched off your gas before you started all this. And your mind is entirely on the emotions towards the Lord of your heart, whoever your Ishta Devata is. And spending some time in the day doing that. No, Varsha. Varsha is saying alone and along with your daily chores is okay. No, with your daily chores, why would you put on bhajans? You do your daily chores, no? When you're doing daily chores, this is karma. Do it with do your karma as an offering to the Lord. Your attitude in the action is of giving back to the Lord. Again, Varsha, everything is graded. Now, suppose people lack self-sufficiency and therefore they need something going on all the time, all the time, all the time. Some music has to go on all the time. Then yes, it's better that you listen to bhajans than you listen to, I don't know, Justin Bieber or something, whatever you listen to. Okay. So, but ideally when you're cooking, you cook, no? Why should you be listening to bhajans and cooking? Like the mind is incapable of staying in one place, and therefore, people want 5 things happening at one time. It just shows an indisciplined mind. But if you do have an indisciplined mind, then it's better that your mind is kept on the bhajans. So it's all graded. It all depends on where a person is. So you can't ask anybody else, is it okay? Because you know your current state and therefore what you should do for your current state. There's no point asking somebody else. You decide, is this the best you can do? Because at every point in life, you just do the best you can do. That's all we are supposed to do. We don't have to worry about, is this good, is this bad, am I high, am I low? We are not supposed to worry about it. Am I doing the best I can do? If I am, I just rest content. That's it. Whatever it is, high, low, medium, just do the best you can do. That's all that's required. Is that okay, Varsha? So
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Anita Narayana Sami says, many times we don't understand the meaning of the bhajan. Then should we keep listening? Anita, you better stop listening because you're not doing bhajans at all. You're doing jnana yoga. Understanding is a faculty that you use when you're doing jnana yoga. It is not a faculty to be used when you're doing bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga means you switched off from all this and you are allowing, what should I say, release to your emotions in the name of the Lord. So whether you understand or not, whether it has any words or not also doesn't matter. It is just an emotional connect. That is why the highest form of bhakti is actually classical music. And classical music, you find that the words they will send 10 times. Rang de Chunariya. 15 minutes they are spent over Rang de Chunariya. Now what are you going to understand? Ho gaya yaar, ab next line to batao mujhe. No, the whole song can be one line only. Because they are not interested in the meaning. They'll take any line and they'll do all they create the emotion around it. This is one big problem that people who tend to use the intellect have. They don't get what emotion is. Sometimes they're like, emotion is emotion, please divide it from the intellect. So you don't understand at all. You just engage the emotion. Sometimes to engage your emotion, some people require to understand. If this be so, then you please understand. But the point here is not whether you understand or not. The point here is your emotion engaged. That's called Bhakti Yoga. Okay?
So does that mean also instrumental music? You could also listen to instrumental music?
Yeah. I mean, you can also know. Classical music is the highest form of bhakti.
Okay.
Anything that bhakti is whatever elevates your emotion. You disengage from your intellect and concentrate on feeling that emotion and feel the full emotion, direct that emotion to feeling for the Lord, and the bhajan is only a tool for that. Okay, and it's always better to have a fixed time to do this, like 7 o'clock in the evening. If you have fixed as your bhajan time, then 7 o'clock it is. Just as if you fixed your morning study time at 5 o'clock or whatever time you have fixed, then 5 o'clock it is. Because all this indisciplined way is not going to get us anywhere.
Thank you.
So then, Uttara, can't it mean that you are chanting with chores? Same answer, Uttara, that was for Varsha. When you're doing your chores, you do your chores. Why are you chanting? You think of God when you're thinking of God, and you do your work when you're doing your work. You don't try to do 25 things at the same time. The thought of God is always there like a shruti behind, not like an actual engagement into something. The actual engagement is in the action when you're doing action, into emotion when you're doing emotion, and into learning and thinking when you're doing that. But we'll open the books and we'll be in a state of emotion. We'll listen to bhajan and we'll try to understand it. There's total confusion going on. Okay, so when you're doing your work, do your work. However, if the mind is not stable while you're doing your work, you're not capable of concentrating on work, and the mind tends to go to here, there, and everywhere, then yes, you can fix it on some good thought rather than fixing it on all the negative thoughts. So that is it all depends on where you are. Just try to do the best you can, because that's all we can ever do. We can only do the best we can. And that's our responsibility to do it.
So I wanted to ask, because since they say that we can pass on the energy, so like chanting and the energy in the food, so that's like God's energy in the food. That's why you chant along with while cooking or while doing any work, so any chores. So kind of passing.
This is all superstition. What God's energy in the food? Whether God is present regardless of what you have put in the food. Your worst food and your best food, God is present. Food is God. I mean, do all this stuff. You concentrate on making the food well. Make your life only cooking when you're cooking. Make your life only listening when you're listening. Make your life what it is there. This is your life. You have to look at everything, every moment of your day as this is my life. Not like ye bhi karo, wo bhi karo, wo bhi karo, ye bhi karo. Imagine if you're cooking with the full personality. Is that going to give you more godliness in the food? Or half is chanting, half is thinking of problems, half is cooking? It won't function like that. That is the right way to do it. Now, if you can't do it like that, then, and the mind is running here and there, then yes, then please chant or please do bhajan or listen to music or whatever it is you're doing. Depends on what a person can do, right? The best is, of course, do one thing.
Okay, thank you.
Sangeeta, while cooking, we can keep the bhava of cooking for Lord for making prasad. Yes, Sangeeta, we can keep the bhava of cooking. That is a bhakti yoga way of doing karma. That is perfectly okay because you can think of the truth, you can think of the Lord of your heart, you can think of whatever you want, but that is the shruti behind. Your concentration is on the food, just as the musician is concentrating on singing properly. Otherwise, he will go besur and betal, and we will not be able to deal with his music. So, just the way he has one thread of his mind on the shruti, so too we always have one thread of our mind on that. Anuja, these explanations are complete. So, what is reflection to be on? How sweet, Anuja. Associate with your experiences of what is reflection. Where are you, Anuja? I can't see you today. Anuja, these explanations are not complete, unfortunately, in this world, no matter how much we are explained to, unless we explain to ourselves, makes no difference whatsoever. So, yes, Vedanta has explained this to us so beautifully that you can't help being grateful that, these people took all the time and effort over 5 to 10,000 years to write all this stuff down for us. So we're incredibly grateful. But for us to convert it to our lives, we will have to reflect on it. Now, if you're a little confused on when you say, what should I do when you ask me to reflect, then you can open chapter 9. I can't offhand recollect the page numbers of the book How Do You Know What You Know, but there is a YouTube video on group discussion where those page numbers are mentioned. Of that, read chapter 9 because it gives the various forms of reflection. Those pages gives the various forms of reflection. So if that can help you in any way, so you hear a concept, then you think about it. Think basic thinking is what, how, what, why, when, how, where, the basic 5 of grammar. So why do you say that? How do you say that? Meaning, what does this sentence really mean? Then why do we say that? What is its applicability and all that? So just keep thinking about it. Allow it to sort of germinate in the mind, and then you will find how insufficient the explanation was, because so many questions will come out of it. But when we don't think about it, then we think, all good. But you will have yourself seen, right? Every time you try to apply something, every time you try to do something. Oh, Manoj Yadav has said, page 248. Thank you, Manoj. Manoj, you seem to have all the references ready with you. Very
Thank you,
good.
ji.
Yeah.
It's 248 to 254, as you had mentioned last time.
Okay, thank you, Bharat. Yes, 248 to 254. Thank you, both of you. This is very good. Now, everyone is going to share the burden, which is really cool. So read those, Anuja, and see if that's of some value. The different forms of thinking. There's
How do I get the book?
How do you get the book? Amazon?
No. Okay. Okay.
You're in
Right.
Pune still. You're in Pune, right? So I'm sure Amazon is doable there.
Yes, yes.
So there is analytical thinking, which means you break down a concept. There's synthetical thinking. Synthesis means you join things together. Then there is pratipaksha bhavana, which is trying to look at it from another point of view. Lateral thinking, being able to open your mind out to the various possibilities. So there are the various ways that you, as a human being, all of us, have these inherent capacities in us to think of things. So you use them all, or as many as you wish to figure it out. And then you come to the last way of thinking, which is called passive thinking. Passive thinking is when you're doing no thinking, actually, you're just living your life, whatever it is. And then you finally, sometimes when you're just living your life the way you are living it, suddenly thoughts will flash back, suddenly understanding will come. it's like a click, as it were. So this is the result. Passive thinking, the answers you get in passive thinking are the result of all the hard work you did in active thinking. So active thinking is the reflection. So read that portion, see if that's of help. Sorry? I can't hear what you're saying. So see whether that helps. If that helps, that'll be good. If not, we can talk about it later again. Sangeeta, all the Bhakti movement saints have written and sung bhajans full of Tattva Jnana. Yes, that's true. The Bhakti movement does use the works of many people who were in Jnana but have been hijacked by Bhakti. So those who are in Jnana will obviously talk Jnana, but people use it for Bhakti also, yes. So just as Bhagavad Gita is chanted, right? But Bhagavad Gita is full of jnana. It's a jnana yoga book, but that doesn't mean it cannot be used for bhakti as well. So most of the literature can be used both ways. Bhaja Govindam is jnana yoga in the sense that we study it, and the same text is used for bhakti by the bhaktas. So most texts are like that. Okay, so let's come back. Oops, it's already 11:30. We will continue next time.
Hari Om, Janki-ji, I have an announcement.
Go ahead.
Hari Om Janki-ji, thank you.
Hari Om.
So this evening, we will have the big group discussion. I've created a presentation and I will soon send the Zoom link on the WhatsApp group. Those of you who want to be a part of the discussion, I have my number given on the group chat. So you can